Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Davis. I'm the founder of the Rags to Riches community. I am highly unqualified to give you any advice about anything. I barely graduated high school. Do not like or comment on any of my videos, and please do not subscribe. Let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Davis. I'm the founder of the Rags to Riches community. I am highly unqualified to give you any advice, just like I informed you in my introduction. I'm excited to give you another video. Actually, I'm lying to you. I'm not excited to give you another video. I'm excited to show you these counterfeit Vipers because they match this white t-shirt. Yes, it's white. I know it's not black. You guys are going to freak out in the comments. And frankly, I don't care. I'm trying to make you guys unsubscribe, and it is not working too successfully at this point. So let's talk. I'm going to put myself down here. All right. HEX market update, 30 September 2021. So it's going to be HEX and it's going to be a market update. This is what we're doing here. All right. Socials. Been a while since we've done some socials. Kara at Wu-Tang Financia 22 hours ago in a boxing match. Peter McCormick destroys Richard Hartwin. So I said, you know what? I like that. Talking a little trash, like just came across this girl on Twitter. Cool. Like, cool. Let's figure this out. And I kind of got to thinking. I'm like, I don't know, like 6'2", 250, 275. Richard's a pretty big dude, right? 5'7" to 5'8", probably 190 pounds. And I kind of guessed Peter McCormick, he's the guy on the left. I guessed his height and weight just because he's standing next to this Asian guy. And I went on Wikipedia and I see, average height for an Asian, and they're about 5'7" to 5'8". And he's a little tubby around the middle. So is this guy, man. But you know what? Give him a little bit of chance to do some cardio. I'm going to take the bigger guy all day. I really am. I think he's just a really nice dude with tattoos. It's kind of like a hippie is a homeless person with an iPhone. All right, here we go. So like after that, I lost a little bit of respect for her because I'm like, you didn't think that out. You didn't think that through. So I kept scrolling through her Twitter feed. You know what? I'm going to give her another chance. And then I saw this and I was like, wow. Kara at Wu-Tang Financia. Why am I so proud of being ranked the #5 crypto Twitter influencer? Because the voters were actual influencers from the CT community. I wasn't chosen by some random website or forum no one has ever heard of. I was chosen by the people that matter. I'm like, wow, like this is legit. Like, okay. She's like legit. She's like the #5 crypto Twitter influencer. 10 comments, a couple shares, some hearts. Okay. So I scrolled down a little bit more. I'm interested at this point. And then we came across this. July 10th, Drunk Doge is going to be the biggest altcoin launch ever, 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 ever. Okay, I'm done. Oh gosh, I cracked myself up. I swear this is freaking hilarious to me. I don't care if y'all are laughing, but I'm freaking laughing. And it was this dude. Nah, it was that's gonna be me in like probably like 25 years, 30 years. All right, here we go. Total crypto market cap right now. All right, so what are we sitting at? About 1.94 trillion. The thing I wanted to point out here, and this is important to know, this is the BitMEX funding and premium index. This is the bottom. So, unlike HEX, we can actually use indicators because indicators are primarily used to measure things in traditional markets and the crypto markets for that matter. So much volume and trading and things of that nature that don't really happen in HEX. So one thing I want to point out here, when you see these massive dips in funding, and if you guys don't know what the funding and premium index is, or just funding or premium indexes, look it up. It's good to know. But when you see these negative funding and premium indexes, you can expect a big push to the upside. All right. So from this drop in funding to this point where we had that pump, I think that was about 170 days, 180 days. Now, this might not look like a lot on the total crypto market cap because this is a screenshot. I can't zoom in. It's like 300, 400%. Okay. That's a big deal. And the longer that it stays negative, the higher the pump to the upside. And you can take a look at pretty much any chart after institutional folks kind of took over retail folks. And you can kind of see that this pattern plays out. All right. So the next one, this looks like the March. So that's the March trigger. Crash in funding. We had massive negative funding here, and we had a huge push to the upside as soon as it broke out. And as you can see, we topped out right above like 2.6 trillion, 2.55 trillion. Then we crashed down. Now we'll point out at this point in time, we have been negative consistently for about 130 days right now, 130, 140 days. So the question now becomes is, what can we expect? Well, if history repeats itself and we do see that trend line, a positive trend line in funding, like we saw here and we saw here, depending on how long this takes, the longer it takes, the more violent the explosion to the upside will be. All right. Another thing that we like to talk about here, this is the Bitcoin wallet size. So any wallet size greater than 1,000 BTC. And I tell folks all this all the time in the chat room. I wish I had been watching this for a longer time. I did a video called Whale Speak, and this kind of goes over my theories and postulations about wallet sizes and whales, et cetera, et cetera. So you can go back and check that out. But if you notice, price topped out in May. Okay. But Bitcoin wallet size is greater than 1,000 BTC. These folks started getting out in February. So if I had been paying really close attention to this, I would have seen a precipitous drop to the downside. A precipitous drop to the downside in these wallets. Okay. I've been holding Bitcoin for a long time. And this is just not something that was on my radar. Like I knew it was here, but just not on my radar. So if you went back in time, you could kind of see that there is a definite correlation between the amount of BTC in a wallet, the whales, so to speak, and the price. And at this point, I tend to think that it's because the folks who hold this tremendous amount of BTC, either they're really smart people or smart individuals, or it's an institution or a company that can hire a whole lot of smart individuals. And they kind of know the market, they kind of feel the market, and they saw this coming. This was all on purpose. They were getting out. These spikes, they were distributing. Spike up, distribute, spike up, and it just fell. So for the first time in a long time, we saw a pretty sizable spike to the upside here in correlation with the price dropping. So when I see price drop and I see the amount of Bitcoin wallet sizes increase, kind of tells me that they're buying, and they've been buying this whole time, especially under 1,000 BTC. So it's this is just a little clue to look at. If we're going to be looking at a reversal, if we really are in the middle of the cycle, if we're going to be in a bear market for 6 more months or 8 more months, we just don't know. But these are clues. The market gives us clues. So Bitcoin US dollar right now, we seem to be finding some support, sitting right at 41 essentially. And we saw a touch here It was an area of resistance, came up, bounced down, popped back through. So that was one touch. We saw some interaction here, 2 touches, 3 touches. We saw some interaction here, 4 touches, 5, 6, 7 touches. So, this is a definite area of some support and resistance. And then our next line underneath. Now, we talk about this a lot too. If you see a high capitulation candle, which means when you see a sell-off and you see that the bears last hurrah, and they're just selling, that's called a capitulation candle. You can look at the highest candle of that sell-off, all right, actually on that volume node. And then you can find the candle that correlates with that volume. And at the bottom of that candle, you can create a floor, all right? And we told our people in our Rags to Riches chat back in May, we said, yeah, we're having a sell-off. Let's look for that capitulation node here on the volume side. And then wherever that candle corresponds, we're going to draw a line in the sand. That's our line in the sand right there. And we knew that that was going to be a major level moving forward. And it interacted with that level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 times, at least on the daily, and much, much more on the 4 hour or the 12 hour. So if we do end up breaking underneath, 41K, a lot of people say 37's next. It might be. These lines aren't definite. These are more like, this should actually probably be a rectangle. You can see support and resistance within rectangles, essentially. If it breaks underneath, we could wick down to 30,000. We could certainly do that. We could chop back and forth. We have some pretty established trend lines to the upside here. We have a very solid floor that was tested about 6 or 7 times. So we have some parameters here to work with. If it falls underneath that, we're going to 20,000. We might wick down to 20K. We might come down to 25 and pop back up, whatever the case may be. But, these are things that we can expect. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't freaking matter. All right. It doesn't matter. Going over this because most of the altcoins that you guys are invested in that aren't HEX, they're highly correlated with Bitcoin because you got ETH trading pairs with Bitcoin, everything. You got all sorts of trading pairs with Bitcoin. ETH liquidity is tied up in Bitcoin and et cetera, et cetera. So that's why we're going over this. So, let me show you this, right? I want to show you a similar fractal. So Aave pumped pretty hard to the upside, very similar to what Bitcoin just did. Okay. And I believe this was back in, it was in September of last year. So we had a huge pump to the upside. We had a pretty substantial correction. It's like a 50% correction. Okay. So we saw this trend line. We saw price break above this trend line. And then what did we see? We saw kind of an upward momentum, an upward channel here, and price was just coiling up, up, up. We had higher highs and we had higher lows until finally, when it tested this upper trend line for all-time high, when it tested it last time, it broke through, violently broke through. So could we see something like that with Bitcoin? Yeah, sure, we could. People ask me, like, are you bullish yet? Are you bullish on Bitcoin? I said, I'm not going to be bullish on Bitcoin until at least we can stay above this trend line, this diagonal. Okay. And I'm definitely not going to be bullish until we can punch through 64,000 or 60,000 and stay above it. We got to retest. If we punch through, we retest. And if we hold it as support, yeah, then I'm bullish. Then I'm going long. So, just something to think about here. Aave has a kind of a similar fractal, and you see this play out over and over and over. Once we get in this zone below the all-time high, but above that diagonal, in here is kind of where we can see what Bitcoin's going to do. We can get a better picture. So let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks. We go down to 30 at least. If we go up, let's see how high we pump. Let's check it out. Hex, guys. Hex is actually really boring. And I've got a lot of respect for these YouTubers who just like keep people captivated by this chart. It's boring because it's so freaking predictable. Like, part of it is like, hey, I'm going to tell everybody like what this coin's going to do, but I really have no clue. And if it comes right, I turn into a god. That's like something going through these influencers' minds. I don't know what the hell it's going to do except go up. It's going to go up, folks. It's going to go up. I don't see it going down substantially until maybe we get to the pulse launch. And even then it's going to crack down, but it's going to go back up again, and we'll kind of talk about that. So, we've got some higher lows right now. We're forming this bottom trend line. We've got a upward angled pennant potentially. Let's see if it can make it back to the top of this channel and see what it does. I found this very interesting on this candle right here. Sometimes when you see this candle, there are people that are getting involved that have a whole lot of money. Okay. So this candle is very interesting to me. And I like to keep an eye on these things, because if you have a green candle that pumps like that, sometimes people are testing the market and they're trying to clear out the orders above. So let's see what happens. If it gets above, say, I don't know, 42 cents, and this might be the point at which it breaks to the upside. I don't think it's going to be a violent break. I don't think we're going to go violent until we get some more information about when Pulse Chain launches. All right. This is a waiting game. People are waiting to hear about the Pulse launch date and snapshot date. Price will slow burn to the upside, as said in previous posts and videos, but we will quickly find ourselves in the $1 to $2 range, maybe more than $2 before snapshot. I really believe that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a very substantial correction on the EHEX side after mainnet goes live. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. I bet you haven't heard this one yet. The OA of HEX will get copies of all of its EHEX on the Pulse side, right? Sure. What if some of that massive supply of liquid copied HEX is used to swap for Pulse, pumping the price while EHEX sees the OA stake in equal amount on the OA side, on the EHEX side, rather? So just something to think about there. Something that I can claim that I knew if it actually happens. And I just got to put it on video to make myself look better. Now let's go out here. Let's go out a little bit. Guys, check out Justice Hill, right? I said we're going to pump his followers by about 15,000. I think we pumped it by about 500. So let's pump this up. Let's get him going. He came on my stream yesterday. Baltimore Ravens. The dude's just completely legit. He's going to get mad at me. I'm going to say he's from Houston, Texas, but I know he's from Tulsa. I'm going to say he's a quarterback, but I know he's a running back. Justice Hill, he is the absolute man for coming on board. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please get on Twitter and follow Justice and then me. Okay, Rags to Riches. All right, so Justice Hill, 14,500. Rags to Riches, 111, which I think in binary is 7. So I have 7 followers now. I got 111 followers. We need to make this kind of like go higher, because this is unacceptable. Okay. All right. Let's get into Hex. So here's where we're at now. Obviously we have this little number going on. We're chopping back and forth. We're coiling up. This is indecision to me right now. When are we going to hear all the details about the main net? I don't know. When are we going to hear details about the snapshot? I don't know. But what I did, I took a fractal from back here that correlated with kind of big payday. So we had a massive pump to the upside. Depending on when we get that news, we're going to have a massive pump. And I think as soon as Pulse Chain launches, we're going to have a pretty massive correction. I found it very interesting that I took that fractal of what happened back there, posted it here, and I placed it here because we don't know when this is going to break out. It might come down, it might chop a little bit further sideways, but as soon as it does break out, we're going to see that big pump. And I found it very interesting that it correlated with this upper channel that I've had on here for quite a while. And then I found it very interesting too that when it corrected back down to the bottom channel that has been established for quite a long time as well. People are calling me crazy for saying that we're going to go to $2. Guys, $2 from here, what is that, like a freaking 800%, 900%, 7, 8x? I mean, come on. This is Hex. Justice Hill, he's gonna buy everything, dude. He's gonna get all his buddies to buy stuff. And we're gonna be living the dream. He's gonna start the bull run. That video started the bull run, right? Here we go. But guys, listen, this is a pump. We just did from 1 penny to 40 pennies. That's pretty substantial. And that, how long did that take? Not long at all. So an 8X is nothing. 7X is nothing. 7X puts us about $4. $4.69. Now this says November 28th. Again, this is just BS. This is conjecture. This is just me making you guys feel really good. But when you zoom out, it doesn't look crazy, does it? Doesn't look like something that's in the realm of possibility. And in fact, after it corrects back down, it kind of looks a whole lot more reasonable. So we'll see what happens. June 18th or June 10th of 2022, we're at $20, $21. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. We'll see what happens. Pulse launch, all that jazz. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all your support. We broke 2,000 followers. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for you guys, but it sucks for me because I have to keep up with you. I got to babysit you all the time. But whatever, hit me up on Twitter. Do not do not comment, do not come into my Telegram channel causing problems. Going to kick your ass pretty quick. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'm out of here.